Good day, folks. This is Christo Teron again, checking in for TradeTaxPlus. As we've promised, this first video will deal with the impact of the increase in the VAT rate, and specifically with what rights a taxpayer has to recover additional output tax when charging a person. Now, in this regard, section 67, and I unfortunately have to keep my act with me, so that sounds a little bit like a lecture, but just ignore that for the time being. Section 67 of the VAT Act deals with that issue. Now, 67 is broken up into three subsections, 1, 2, and 3. Now, essentially, 1 and 2, they deal with the increase or a decrease in VAT, and 3 deals with a very specific circumstance. So let's have a quick look at 1. What the section says, if the VAT rate increases, you are entitled to recover an additional amount irrespective of whether the original contract said 14%. So you can then start charging 15% and recover the extra 1% from your client, on the condition that the agreement doesn't prohibit that. So I don't know whether there are agreements like that in practice, but if there is an agreement that says your rate will be fixed at 14% come hell or high water, then that is what it is. The VAT doesn't stay 14%. The total amount you charge then would be inclusive of VAT of 15%. Essentially, you're losing out on that. Another important thing to remember is that if you choose not to recover the amount, the price that you charge is deemed that you have recovered the amount. What does that mean? It means if I charge 114 and I keep my price at 114, then I am deemed to have charged 115 and I must pay the full extra 1 rand to SARS. You can't apply the tax fraction to the 114. You pay the full amount as if you have charged 115. Now that's quite punitive if there's a huge transaction involved. So how do you get around that? You need to renegotiate that the new price inclusive of VAT would be 114 to avoid this almost punitive impact of having been regarded as having sold the goods at 115. Very important to take note of when you renegotiate or negotiate transactions. When it comes to a reduction in the VAT rate, that's what the subsection 2 deals with. It says you shall reduce the price. You've got no option. You can't keep it the same. You must give the benefit back. Then subsection 3 deals with regulated prices. Now that's a price where a regulation or a law says this is the price that you must charge. What it then says is you can increase that price as if the law has allowed that. So you can add another 1% on top of the price that you're charging, except if the law has already been changed in anticipation of the increase in the VAT rate. Then the new price is the new price. So you can't take the new price plus another 1%. Also, what it says is if your consideration is determined with reference to a VAT inclusive amount, another VAT inclusive amount. So for example, I take 2% of whatever the sales is. Then you can't add VAT on top of that 2% or additional VAT on top of the 2% because you're already getting the benefit of the 2% on the higher amount, which kind of makes sense. So this sort of summarizes the basic rights that you have as a taxpayer to recover additional amounts when the VAT has initially been set at 14%. Hope that's of assistance. In the next session, we'll look at the general transitional rules when the VAT rate becomes 15%. For now, this is Christo Teron checking out for TradeTaxPlus, Centre of Excellence.